Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about M&A activity, recent deal watches, and then 6 ways to spot a bad business partner. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products. So while overall mergers and acquisition investment in North American cannabis industry has been far outpacing that of 2018, several factors have posted notable increases so far this year, according to the Marijuana Business Daily. There are 3 sectors that are hemp, infused products and extracts, and consumption devices. I've all seen M&A activity values at $1.4 billion this year. So in the corresponding period of 2018, by comparison, that total was just $254 million. So for the overall industry, $8.5 billion has been invested in 2019 versus just $5 billion for last year. And so looking at some of the top raises that closed last week include Origin House, a Canadian cannabis delivery company due to be acquired by Cresco Labs, that closed a debt raise of $12 million. So that's interesting that they're using a debt financing. It's becoming more normalized, I see. And then the Ontario-based Origin House also received a second tranche at $8.5 million, with proceeds expected to be used for expansion of cannabis facilities in Sonoma, California. So again, more times that we're seeing Canadian companies raising capital, coming back, buying property, plant, and equipment in the U.S. And in addition to the top raises that closed last week is Blaze, a California cannabis software company, and LeafWire that we've also reported on. They're a Colorado-based marijuana investment group. They each received $1 million in equity seed funding. And then for top mergers and acquisition deals that closed, Ionic Brands just acquired Zoots, a cannabis edibles company, both Washington-based companies, was acquired for $11 million. So Zoots is going to be on our podcast during Hemp Fest. We're going to kick that off Friday, August 16th at the World Trade Center in Seattle, talking about everything that is edibles, including the $11 million M&A between Ionic and Zoots. So in addition to the top M&A deals that closed last week, Origin House sold a 5% equity stake in a Florida-based medical marijuana company. Now, this is interesting because they sold this stake simply to keep them out of the business. So check this out. Origin House's 5% stake for $6 million is basically to keep the Toronto-based family office of Zola Global out of Florida. So under the terms of the deal, Cresco cannot expand operations in Florida. So I find that very fascinating.
The creativity of people who are moving capital around, right? Very interesting indeed.
Right. So you would think you'd want to merge with somebody that you want to leverage their existing property, plant, equipment, assets, all of that, right? And so to then put in there to say you can't expand in here and help us, I find to be fascinating. So maybe that's a pretty good transition for the 6 ways to spot a bad business partner. According to Inc., how well do you really know the other person that you're doing business with? So number 1 is if it's too good to be true, probably is. You should always have an exit strategy in mind anyways, and so maybe selling a 5% stake at $6 million is good enough. That's a pretty good valuation, maybe enough to just kind of walk away, or they're in some kind of a dream and don't realize it might be too good to be true.
As somebody who's old, been in business a long time, and, in general, in business, good partners are hard to find. All said, in something as chaotic as the cannabis space, where you find a high volume of dreamers and a high volume of, exploitationists, whatever you want to call them, very complex space because everybody's got rosy words and reality is a little different, my brother, right?
Exactly. So number 2 for Inc., according to the 6 ways to spot a bad business partner, is they have ulterior motives. So you have to know their agenda, whether it's good or bad. Ultimately, I think that if you have an ulterior motive, you're not being transparent with somebody, that's a big red flag, right? If they have a no asshole policy and they act like assholes, that's a red flag. They're not living transparently.
Oh, how many times have you heard, well, let me be completely honest with you. Okay. Oh, great. Super. Okay. Why do you need to tell me you're going to be completely honest with me? It's an interesting thing. Again, business partners are like getting married sometimes, right? You don't just run out there and be business partners and you will rue doing it, right? Just that snap decision. Woo, yeah, okay, great, let's be business partners. Later, you're going to find yourself more than a couple times saying to yourself, I can't believe I'm business partners with these people.
Right. And sometimes you'll pick somebody that you trust and that you like and that you know, but that expertise doesn't actually translate into effort. And so expertise and effort are not equal. It's number 3 in terms of the top 6 ways to spot a bad business partner. I was just down at the expo, Indo Expo in Portland. The both of us were hitting the floor down there. I spoke to a gentleman down there who does hemp genetics. And he mentioned that one of his business partners is not putting in the elbow grease and the work necessary. So I think they have equal capital, but growing hemp is not easy. So if you're not out there, sweating and doing your elbow grease, then maybe that's not the same amount of effort. And so I think that he's probably going to cut his partner out in terms of the profit that they get because his partner didn't put in the effort. So you could be an expert. If you don't have the time and resources, you're not going to get the money back.
Well, and it's about communication and expectation, and so communication and expectation, I think, go hand in hand with that. And then do what you say what you do.
Right. And so another one that kind of couples on that is the work is unbalanced. Right? You have to make sure that everybody is kind of on the same page and that there's a proper balance and that they're not hiding the truth. So number 5 things out of 6 ways to spot a bad business partner is that they're hiding the truth. We kind of mentioned that right out the gate. Number 1 is that you need to be transparent. And so when somebody is holding things back from you and they're not telling you, who the main investor is, and yet you're a part of this organization, you might want to run.
Oh my gosh. I literally, case in point, Josh and I, Chronic and I, have a lot of history together. We've got over 5 years together. In the course of that time, I have probably 8, 9, quote, bad business partners because I was moving maybe a little too fast, a little too hopeful, a little naive, and the whole thing of just slowing down and recognizing that, what? Again, this is an industry where there are a lot of people who love the idea of you go do a lot of work. I will go make a lot of money, right? Again, get it balanced, get it right, and know what they're thinking.
And the final way to spot a bad business partner is that you can't see yourself going on vacation with them. I suppose that's a good way to look at it. If you can't be on vacation, you probably shouldn't be a business partner. Like you said, is somewhat of a marriage. You're signing a business contract in the same way that you sign a marriage contract. It's a business license as well. And you need to see yourself with them day in, day out.
Yeah, not to get all sappy about it, but here's the thing. When you and I are in the field, when we're running, when we're podcasting, I don't feel like I'm working, right? And we get a lot of stuff done and we go.
With that, I got to go. So we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.